Welcome to the Billy Ho Forecast Show. Please subscribe and like the video. Remember, the more you share, the bigger we grow. Now, let's go! Hello, Billy Ho here. Today we're going to get into this year's Wells Fargo Championship. Before we do so, I want to congratulate Swag Nasty for winning the Billy Ho last week at the Mexico Open. Well done. Not your first time. Join our Discord, man. Links in the description. Now, TPC Potomac at Avenel is where we're playing the Wells Fargo this year because the traditional Quail Hollow is being prepped for the President's Cup. So Avenel is a 7,100-yard par 70 course featuring bent grass fairways and approximately 4,200 square feet bent grass greens that run fairly firm and fast, and the rough is actually a fescue grass mixed in with some Kentucky bluegrass. Now, it would seem like that this course is a short course, but in order to hit fairways, you got to dial it back a little bit, and the most approach shots are going to be from 150 to 200 rather than a wedge fest. The par fives are 619 and 560 yards apiece, and there is a drivable par four at approximately 300 yards. Now, let's get into the skill set. All right. With both driving accuracy and greens in regulation below tour average, that's where we're going to start. Fairways and greens, baby. With bent grass fairways and greens both, we can actually look at those players that have done well on these following courses. Augusta at the Masters, Austin Country Club, which does have Bermuda, but it has bent fairways. We just saw at the match play. Muirfield Village, which is the Memorial, and the TPCs of River Highlands, Deer Run, and Twin Cities, all both bent. So the total skill sets to me, I got listed on here, mixed in off the tee and good drives. And I got, of course, strokes gained approach, greens gain. I got a little short game fired in there. And, of course, you got to have birdies or better in DK points. And I added some scrambling players. We'll start with Rory. He's 11.5, fourth in the model. And he's sixth over his last five events in the model. He's eighth in DK points. And he kind of backdoored that second at the Masters with one of those no-pressure Sunday rounds where he just fired it off. And so he should lead this field and off the tee this week, I would think. 19th, Gers gained. And I'm not saying I'm fading him, but I want to do the fade the 10K thing this week. So I may not have too much Rory. Now, the guy up here is Matt Fitzpatrick that I'm eyeballing. He's way up here, number 2 in the mod, and his numbers are solid across the board. The birdie or better is a little lacking, but, you know, with Matty Fitz, he can get hot at any time. But the way he gains off the tee for a guy that doesn't hit it as far as he does, it's very encouraging. So he's right at 10, and that's good enough. That's borderline. The next guy I wanted to talk about was Patrick Reed, which is he doesn't show up on the models, but he's playing Patty Reed golf again at the Mexico Open. He gained across the board an eye-popping +7 in the short game. And, of course, he's not high in this recent model, but he does clock in at number 8 on my comp course model. And in that model, he's first in birdie or better and DK points. Now, my comp model was those courses I just mentioned to you a minute ago. So I like where that's going, and, the price is right. Russell Henley, he's actually first in this model, and first in approach, greens gained, birdies, DK points. Everything looks good for him. He's a little off in the scrambling department, but, you can't have everything. He's likely a guy I'm going to eat some chalk on this week, as is Corey Connors, who ranks obviously way up here. He's 10-100, and that is kind of a hair bit pushing it for the fade to 10K. But we're going to switch over here so we can be more in order. I like where Henley's at, and I like where Corey Connors is at. As long as they're not way over 10K, I'm good. Now, Gary Woodland, 9,100. That's pretty good price for him. 7th in the model, 8th approach, short game, DK points, scrambling. Now, he lost an atrocious amount of strokes putting in Mexico, and he just may have just struggled figuring out the paspalum, slow greens. These are faster bent greens, so a change in surface may be what old club down Gary needs. So I like Gary. Now, Paul Casey. Question is, do you trust him? To be determined. He's 14th in the model, 3rd in approach. He's basically playing about as good as golf as Paul Casey ever plays. And then he hurt his back at the match play. And that just kind of just derailed everything there for a while. And that kind of sucks for Paul. If he's healthy, another guy, Max Homa, 16th in the model. He's 8th off the tee, 12th in approach, 24th in birdies or better gained. And he's starting to shake off that, West Coast bias where he was just like, play Max Homa on the West Coast. He's good there. He's good on POA, Genesis, that kind of thing. But he had 2 really good finishes in Florida, and he made the cut at the Masters. So you got to love that. Okay, Seamus Power, 12th in the model, 8,300, great price. Hitting it off the tee, greens gained, birdies, DK points, and scrambling. A little bit off with the approach over his last 40 rounds. But this is a course where he seems like a really, really good course fit. And I kind of feel like he's a core type of play, to be honest with you. So I'll be down with that. I got to mention Webb Simpson here at 8,100. I mean, damn, that is just way cheap. And we know Webb hasn't been Webb, but he did make the cut at the Masters. And he's shown flashes here and there that he can compete. And this is a course where you would think tee to green, he'd be awesome. Now, he's a little better on Bermuda, but he's still a great putter. Cam Young at 8K, 8th in the model, birdies, DK points, and scrambling. Oh, really, really good. Another guy we got here is Brian Harmon. I think a good fit. He had a terrible approach week at Heritage, but I see a bounce back there. He was 6th in my comp model, and he putts well on bent. He's got the short game, we all know, and the driver has been clicking his last 4 events. So he's looking good to me. day. 27th in the model, Adam Svensson. He was a bit over his head, missed the cut last week on that long course, but this is more suitable to him. He's 23rd in good drives, 8th in approach, 17th greens gained, 17th in birdie or better gained for a guy who struggles putting is not bad. The change in surface should do him some good. So I really like Adam Svensson this week. Sepp Straka, 3rd in the model. He's been on quite the run. You know, he got the first PGA victory, 4th in greens gained, birdies, DK points, scrambling. Everything looks good, but look at that number 60 on approach. I'm going to call this a fade Sepp Straka week because this guy I've followed for a couple of years now, and the one thing he can be off with is the approach game. And if he's suffering there, Aaron Rai is another one I may be tempted to fade on ownership if people are all over him. He fits the mold of good drives, approach game, greens gained, and DK points, birdies. But he's also a little off in the short game category at 87 and scrambling at 88. So if he's not bombing it on the greens from the approach, he's going to struggle. So it depends on the ownership. We'll take a look. Keegan Bradley is another guy I like to play. He's 13th in the model, 7th in approach, 15th in birdie or better, 16th in DK. But we all know what can happen with Keegan. He can go full Keegan. 9,600 is a steep price, but it is fair for this field. Good drives at 87, but 11th off the tee. So take that with a grain of salt. He's probably going to be on the fade train for me, to be honest. Russell Knox is another guy I wanted to mention. 25th in the model. He's 2nd in good drives, 3rd in approach, and 1st in greens gained. Now, we know he struggles with the putter, but I think the change in surface may help him. So I'm going to put him in the pool this week. He looks good to me. And the last guy I wanted to mention, Chase Seifert. He came in at 28th in the model. He's sitting at 6,500. And he is just kind of middling in all the areas, but he is a pretty good scrambler. And he's a cut maker, I think. I think he can get down here because his good drives and his off the tee total equal out better than most of the field. And you have to remember there's like 156 players in the field this week. So I feel pretty good about Seifert getting there. And that'll do it for this video. Sorry if it wasn't up to par. I kind of was in rush mode trying to get shit together. So I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you subscribing. I appreciate all you do supporting me, peeps. So until the next video, Billy Hustle. Peace.